I get my dog to stop stealing food from my 4-year-old? I've been dealing with these kinds of issues here for the past couple of months where dogs are behaving badly and stealing food from children. And it really is a boundaries thing. When dogs are stealing stuff, that means that they're not really clear on where the boundary is, and if they are clear on the boundary is, then the consequence for crossing that boundary really is irrelevant to the dog. One of the things that I see with dogs and boundaries, and I see this with my own guys, is that whenever we set the boundaries, as our presence begins to wane and begins to go further and further away, then the dogs obviously begin to push those boundaries. So really getting a dog to stop stealing food from children is really finding one boundary, finding one place that you actually want your dog to be, having a very clear boundary around that place, and then really sticking to it. And what that means is that when your dog is there, I want you to make their place for them the most valuable place that the dog could be. Make it incredibly valuable. Now that doesn't mean make it exciting, but you definitely want to deploy food, you want to deploy petting, you definitely want to bring the dog's favorite food to it whenever they're on their place. But then the other thing is you need to use your leash and your other training tools. When your dog makes a choice to come off those boundaries, the consequences need to be clear. They don't need to be overly firm, but they do need to be firm enough that the dog understands that you are to stay where I've asked you to until we've released. This is really an important thing, and it has to be a daily practice, because if your dog is beginning to steal food from children, it's really only a matter of time before something bad is going to happen. And the bad thing, and justifiably so, the bad thing that happens in our society is that dogs get blamed, and unfortunately they lose their lives whenever they end up hurting a child. So a dog should never hurt a child. But we should really be diligent enough that we're setting these good boundaries for the dogs, letting them know where we want them to be, bringing a lot of value for that, and then also teaching children to not tease dogs, that they need to respect the dogs whenever they're on their place, but really knowing your dog as well. If you're unsure about your dog, do some place training, keep a leash on that dog, and begin to practice on a daily basis, and your dog will reward you with great obedience if you go through that process.